Hey friends, welcome to Chaos with a Twist Q&A session. Oh, there's lots of folks here. Some people I already saw this morning in the other live for the So Squad members. Hello, welcome. So if you're new to this format, I'm the only person who's live. So if you're in your pajamas, that's cool. And there's a tab on the side. One is for, this is on a desktop anyway, shows all the participants. Then there's another tab for chat. And so if you have a question or you want to say hi, you click on the chat and you can type in there. So hello from Hawaii. Good morning. Oh my goodness. I'm excited that you're participating. Yeah. Hello again. Some of you will notice that I said I was going to jump off the other meeting and head to the studio before this one, but then Gus went outside, my dog, and he was lying in the sun and he was just so happy. I thought, why rush? Let's just sit here together in the sun. I'll do this meeting and then I'll go to the studio. So that's how I'm managing this Wednesday. Yeah, I'm super excited about this too. So I just wanted to answer any questions you might have. And if you're watching this and it's a recording and there's a question that you haven't heard the answer to or you can't find it, please go ahead and type it in the community chat. So there's a community chat tab, and that's like our posting area where anyone can post questions or comments, photos of your progress, and that's a great place to post. And another thing is you can contact me. Like I'll get tagged if you type at and you start typing libs. You can choose my name. You can do that for any member or participant, and then that way I get notified, because sometimes people will post things and I do my best to go through, but sometimes I don't get notified. So if you put the at, just like on Instagram, it'll pop up the name of the person. Hello from Central Florida. Hi, Debbie. Okay, questions. How many fabrics should we have? Brenda, this is a question we'll get into more during the first session. In the handout, I've said, what did I say, like 8 to 12 fabrics? But really it's up to you how you want your design to look. And then the other thing is, as far as like fabric requirements, because this is like, consider it sort of like an improv class where you don't know exactly how much fabric you're going to need. It's sort of dependent on your design. It could change. So I like 8 to 12 fabrics. You might someone had asked if they could use only 3. Sure, that's cool too. Be aware that there are 2 different size options that you can choose from. No matter what, the blocks we're making are going to be 8.5 inches unfinished. And the overall size, you can either make a 64-inch quilt or an 80-inch by 80-inch quilt. Okay, they're both square. So 8-inch blocks. So when you're working in, which is about this, when you're working in 8-inch size blocks, you don't need huge pieces of fabric. Most of the blocks, except for the big half square triangle, that takes a chunk of fabric. Some of the blocks there's like stitch and flips, so you end up with a bit of extra like scrap. But aim for 8 to 12 plus. Here's the other thing to think about. October 4th, our first session, we're not even going to sew. We can start looking at fabrics if you've got some that you want to bring along to the Zoom, and we'll talk about fabrics and color choices during that session. But that first session, we're not cutting anything. We'll be designing using our paper, pencil, colored pencils, marker, and we'll just be drafting design ideas and sketches. And then that gives you some time to mull over how you want your design to look. And by the next session, we'll really jump into sewing. All right, so I hope that answers. It doesn't really answer your question, but it kind of does. I like to stick with, 8 to 12 fabrics, even like, or 5 to 12, even like, depends how wild you want your quilt to look, right? And I think like if you look at the Bloom quilt, which is a pattern of mine, that's a chaos type kaleidoscope quilt. And I think that one uses 12 or 13 fabrics in it. So, but you can dial that back. So that's a really good way to gauge, is to sort of look at the fabric requirements and quantities on the Bloom quilt. Will I link the site where the templates can be found? Are there 10 in the set? Not sure I'm looking at the right set. Sure, I can put, Kathy, you want the paper pieces? So for those of you in the States, if you want to order directly from paperpieces.com, no matter who you're ordering from, me or Paper Pieces, you want the large La Fin du Monde template set. The large set will make 8.5-inch blocks. They're different. There are two different sizes. I think there's even small, medium, large. Let me just type it up. Paperpieces.com. And the other thing is, again, you don't even need these templates until we start cutting and making blocks in November. So it's not a rush, but be sure to get the large ones. Sorry, I'm just taking a minute to. I've added a link to that first post with all the handouts and everything in it. There is a link in the blurb about templates. There's a link that goes to this, but I'll put it in the chat as well. The large template. 6, 8, 10. Yeah, there are 10 pieces in the template set. So that's Paper Pieces for those of you in the States, because I am unfortunately unable to ship to the US right now, but I can also cut templates. So for those of you in Canada, I'll be cutting some large sets. I know a few of you, Brenda, Linda, you've already put an order in for sets. And I'm going to have to cut those when I get back from France next week. So please be patient. But again, like, you won't need them until after our first session. Okay, so I'll get those cut up for you. It does make, yeah, templates definitely make the block making process easier if you choose to use curves. If you're looking at those block choices from the handouts and you're like, I just want to stick with points with triangles, then you don't really need the templates. It's only if you're doing quarter curves and orange peels. The other thing is there is one block in the booklet that's got a double curve. So there's one piece that looks like a rainbow. That's not included in the template set, but that's easy enough to cut out without needing a specific piece for that, okay? Those template sets are, you can use them for this class. You can use them to make the Bloom quilt, which is B-L-O-E-M. And you can also use them for the La Fin du Monde quilt, which is the heart motif. So it's a great, like, once you've got that set, you've got multiple projects you can use it for. I often standardize a lot of my patterns to be 8-inch finished blocks. It's just a really nice size. And so that way also, then you've got these, you know, you've invested in templates, you can use them across different patterns. Okay, so Kathy, I put the link in the chat for you to Paper Pieces. Lynn, you're an advanced beginner. How much trouble are you getting yourself into? If you know how to sew, if you understand how to make a block, you'll be okay. I promise. Some of the blocks are more challenging, like the curves, but if you haven't done a curve yet, don't worry about it. I'll show you how to do them. Also, I do have another free tutorial, not free, sorry, another paid tutorial on the landing page for the Sew Squad. That's just a tutorial on sewing curves, but we'll deal with it in class as well. So you're not going to get into trouble. Don't worry, it's going to be fun. A lot of people, and this is what I do love about this class, a lot of folks are really like nervous because it's like letting go of control and total chaos. And trust me, that puts me out of my comfort zone. Like, I've never taken an improv class. I've never done a Sherry Lynn Wood course where you're chopping up things you've made. That makes me uncomfortable. And like, so, but then I know it would be fun too, right? It's out of your comfort zone. And sometimes we have to push ourselves. But the nice thing about this is that it's a balance, right? So it's not total chaos. There's some letting go at the beginning. And then definitely as we move through the process, we're reining in and we're making design decisions. So you're not totally out of control and going to end up with something on a paper that you're like, I don't want to make this, it looks ugly. You have total control over the process. So just trust me, you're going to do great. Am I shipping? Oh, Brenda, I answered your question about shipping orders before I leave. No, sorry, I have to get the laser up and running and cut more templates. I thought I had a few, but I sold them all at the retreat. Yeah, woo, Alex, excited, woohoo. Are there other questions? Also, I will say too, if you know, the templates aren't mandatory, you don't have to purchase them. There are paper templates in the worksheets that I sent to you, or that are posted in the course content. And you can use paper templates. I do it. You just have to trace them, cut them out. Allison, could you half the size? Probably. We'd have to figure out the math for it. I do have templates that are 6.5 inches, but I wanted to leave it out of, like, the booklet. The construction book and everything refers to everything being 8.5 inches. So if you know how to do the math, where you want to do that, it's easy enough for things like half square triangles. There might be a few blocks where we have to like crunch our brains a little bit, but you could definitely make a smaller version. The other challenge is for smaller blocks, if you're doing something like an orange peel, the smaller those curves, the more it's a little more finicky to put together. But if you've done curved piecing before, or small piecing, it shouldn't be too difficult. These are all really good questions. Nice job, everybody. We're going to start on the 4th of October. That session, I've posted all 3 sessions in the live sessions. So there are a couple different spaces in this course, right? And I did post about it, but at the top on your desktop, and I recommend using a desktop to kind of navigate through everything and to download all the handouts. But there are a few different sections. There's course content, and that's where you'll find all the handouts. And all you need to do prior to the workshop is print them out. You can read through it. You can prep your papers, like the worksheets that we're going to be drafting, get some colored markers, colored pencils, an eraser. The eraser is the paper version of the Stitch Ripper. So that's the course content. Will have all the content there. So like after October 4th, the recording will be posted in that section. This will be posted in that section, this recording. Then there's a, what did I call it? Community feed, community discussion area. So that's where we post everything. You can type anything, you can say, you can introduce yourself, it doesn't matter. It's a fun little place to chat with other people. Then there's the live sessions, and in there you'll see like the live events are scheduled, and you can RSVP, and you can even, there's a little link, add to calendar. If you click that, it will open up, like if you use a Google Calendar on your desktop, it'll open it up and you can just add it into your calendar. So it's handy. And that's where you'll find the Zoom links too. So when it's time for the meeting, you click on the event, click on Zoom session, it'll open up the Zoom. So October 4th, we've got like a 4-hour session. I think that's going to be enough because we're just doing planning. I'm going to do a presentation all about generative art and generative quilts. Should you make extra copies of the grid pages? Sure. Yeah. And, you know, if you want to make 4, say you're doing the 64-inch quilt or the 80, doesn't matter. If you print out that worksheet 4 times, then you can like draft it, the 4 quadrants, print out extras, because we might do the process a few times too. So extra copies of the grid pages, great idea. Just those pages. Everything else you only need 1. The other 2 sessions, November and December, those will be more working sessions where we're actually sewing and building our quilts. And I might do some live, I'm trying to decide on this. I might do some live demonstrations for some of the blocks, like the curves, but I'd also like to have pre-records done for those too and post those in the content area, so that, you know, it's great to like watch someone on Zoom do a demo, but it's also like stressful if you've just stepped away to get a cup of tea and you come back and you're like, oh, I missed it. And, you know, I will record the whole session, but then you don't have to go through the whole 6-hour recording to find how to make an orange peel. So I'll probably also do these like little mini videos on how to build each block. So that'll be helpful for those of you who just want to reference a specific block and like, wait, how did Libs do that? Okay. Are there any other questions that you can think of? Are you allowed to bring snacks to class? Yes, you're allowed to snack. It's sort of actually part of quilting is snacking. Very important. I've booked the sessions. The first one is noon to 4 Eastern time. When you look at the events, it will display in your time zone. So as long as you've set up your profile and Mighty Networks, which is this platform, knows where you're from, it will it'll display all the events in your own time zone. So 12 to 4, and then the other 2 sessions, November, December, will be 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. We'll have some breaks and things during those 5 hours or 6 hours together, but that gives us a good chunk of time to sew and see progress. All right. Okay, I'm trying to think if there's anything else I wanted to say. I don't know. Tell your friends. If you've got a friend who you think might be interested, let them know. You can sign up right until, like I don't have a cutoff date, but you could sign up right until October 3rd, and class starts the next day. And we don't start sewing until November. So you've got time that you could sign up at the last minute or have someone else sign up at the last minute if they want to. How many so far? I think we've got over 50 people, which is amazing. And like a lot of people are monthly Sew Squad members, but a lot of new folks. So I'm really excited about that. So welcome. If you're new here and you're just specifically just taking the course, that's amazing. You might hear some of us talking about other events and things that are going on in the main Sew Squad space. That's the monthly membership, but I wanted to set this up as like a standalone course so that everyone had the opportunity to join in. So I thought that would be fun. Will people be sharing their work in progress? Yeah, heck yeah. I think that's where that community posting space, you can upload photos there. And so it's a great place to like post your progress, or if in between sessions, you'll probably be working on making blocks and playing around on your design wall or design space. You're welcome to post and ask for opinions. If you like getting lots of opinions, quilters have lots of opinions, so be open to that if you do post something and ask a question. But yeah, we'll be able to share our progress for sure. Are solids better for a first go at this? That's a really good question. And someone else, I think it was Robin, asked about values. So I would say yes. Solids, if you're new to this, solids or near solids, blenders are great for this kind of project. Nothing directional. Yes, Deborah, that's things like stripes get complicated. So, it just takes more work to line things up in those blocks, especially because you're working in this kaleidoscope. So solids, near solids, or like all of those, and then maybe you've got one big feature print that you might want to pop in there, or a couple prints. That's cool too. But if you want to keep it simple, and because you don't know how much fabric you need necessarily, solids are great because you can always order more. And then as far as value goes, yes, I would choose some light, medium, dark colors. And we'll talk about that during the first session too. I'll show you some examples and we'll talk about that. But definitely one of the things you'll notice a lot about fabrics, manufacturer fabrics, is that there are a lot of medium values. A lot of fabrics are medium. So you do want to, because those are the great, like, the bright colors, those are like, I would stick those in the medium values. So then you do want to balance that out with some lights and then some darker fabrics as well. And we'll talk about that during class. Okay. All right. You can't follow hashtags anymore on Instagram, unfortunately. It's really crummy. I don't know why they wrecked it. Well, they wrecked Instagram a lot. just in case my computer might die in a minute. So just if everything goes blank, I didn't back out on you. It's my computer. Anyway, I hope that answers some of your questions. I will be sharing some of the things on Instagram too when we get going, just to show people on Instagram. But yeah, no hashtags, unfortunately. If you have questions about this between now and October 4th, go ahead and post them in that community area. Or there's also a way you can DM me. If you click on, I think there's a little DM area where you can DM me, or just email me. And I'll put my email in here, studio@libs, Elliot, 2 L's, 2 T's.com. That's my email address. Okay, I am taking off to France on Sunday, and I'll be back on the 24th. So if you do post questions, please just be patient. I'll get to them as soon as I can. Yeah, that's it. I'm really excited about this class. I haven't done this one before online, and I like the idea of splitting it up so that we've got lots of in-class time together, but extra time to work on it on our own and still keep sharing on the platform. And as long as you've paid for this class, so as long as it stays on the internet, you've got access to come back to it anytime you want. Probably run this course again in the spring. We'll see how this one goes. All right. Okay, everybody, my computer is about to cack out on me, so I hope you all have a great day. I'll see you soon. I'll be in the squad and I'll be in this course, checking the posts and yeah, checking in on you. Thank you so much for signing up for this. I'm really excited to take you all on this exciting, chaotic journey. Okay, all right, over and out, everybody. Bye.